Hello, my friends! Welcome to the fire. So you want to play a character that's inspired by a beloved franchise. You know what? I say go for it. Just don't go about doing it like the player in this story. Oh, and this is part 1 of 2. Player tries to turn D&D campaign into Steven Universe. r/RPG horror stories posted by Regale. This story takes place in the Dark Ages before humanity knew fire. 2017, and we just started using Discord for D&D because we found out that it now has video call. I was running a campaign for 2 of my friends and a third person, a friend of my friend. It was a party of 4. Friend 1, Boblin the Goblin Rogue. He once read this name somewhere on the internet and found it hilarious. He keeps using it ever since. Friend 2, Hex the Human Shadow Sorcerer / Paladin, who was really fond of children, and by the end of the campaign, she adopted 2 street orphans. Friend of Friend 2, Karen. Not the actual name, the half-orc Jananzi Asomar hybrid fighter / manager. Her father was a half-orc, half-elf. Her mother was half Jananzi, half Asomar. And my DMPC, Val the Warforged Bard. Basically imagine a Warhammer Necron with a bunch of trumpets for the doot fun times. This is how I'll refer to us later in the story, instead of using real names due to privacy reasons. We have been playing the campaign for months, and the party killed 2 of the 3 BBEGs who want to use the clockwork machine of Tralis, a machine that is powered by the planet's core to wipe all life out on the High Empire's continent. As time goes on, I notice that Karen's player starts to be sloppier every session, running forwards alone, walking into obvious traps. So, I hit her up in DMs asking what's wrong. She tells me that everything is fine and she will pay more attention. She didn't pay more attention. I hit her up in DMs again, asking once again if there is something wrong, but once again, she tells me that she is just a bit tired because she went to sleep too late and that she will pay more attention. She didn't pay more attention. The party started to become more and more annoyed with their shenanigans, especially considering that they grew attached to their characters and the 2 orphan NPCs and didn't want to lose them. This time, Hex, her friend, hits her up in DMs and has a talk with her, confirming that yes, there was indeed a problem. She told me that Karen tried to kill her character off for a long time because she has this awesome idea for a new one. When I asked Hex why didn't Karen just tell me so in the first place, she said that Karen thought that I'd, and I quote, lose my shit and single her out if she killed her character off midway through the campaign, which just wasn't true. She already switched characters 3 times through the game, and honestly, I couldn't have cared less. It's her character. She can do whatever she wants with them. My only rule about killing characters off is if you kill off your character, you may not start another one until the party reaches the next town, which is usually next session since we try to end all sessions in an inn or a tavern. I hit Karen up in DMs again and tell her that she could let her PC retire from adventuring this session. I'm willing to derail the campaign, let her do heroic deed so her goddess lifts her curse and she won't be forced to wander anymore, letting her finally retire, and next session she could roll a new character up. She didn't like the idea and told me that we should kill her off instead. Okay, I guess we're doing that then. She asked me if it's okay to homebrew a race or not. I said, sure, but she may not change the world's overall lore to fit into the character's backstory, and the race she makes should fit into the setting. For example, no, you may not homebrew a Lovecraftian old one, Bionicles, any race from Star Wars, or anything from My Little Pony. Things you normally meet only at a furry convention is also automatically out. No. Just no. I also asked her to show me the character sheet as soon as she can so I can make sure if it fits into the game. Karen pays even less attention now than ever before, and during the whole game, she's busy with something else. During the session, the party encounters the third BBEG the first time. Fight ensues, and he ends up killing Karen's character. After the session, she told me that she has the sheet ready, because apparently this is what she's been busy with. Enter Rose Quartz, a fighter of the crystal gems who are basically a crystalline race. Sure, why not? We have Warforged in the game, lithoid creatures aren't that much of a stretch. When describing her appearance, she claims to look like a thick black woman in a wedding gown-esque dress. By now, I know that this character from the cartoon isn't black, but back then, I didn't. Frankly, I didn't even know about this cartoon. The character's backstory is that it's from a different continent and it wants to go back there, but the BBEG has the teleport device, so it joined us. Her racials are basically +3 to all stats. No need for food or oxygen, heat and cold resistance. Meanwhile, I found it kind of OP. The rest of the party agreed to it, so hey, why not? As the journey continues, Karen keeps bragging how her character is from a different planet and protects this one from the evil invaders called Homeworld Gems, and that she's leading a rebellion. She says that there is a planet-sized lithoid creature in the planet's core that she needs to stop from hatching, or else it will tear the whole planet apart. Boblin at this point called her out on her BS. What? Dude, that's not your character's backstory, and we agreed that there won't be any mind flayers or aliens in this campaign. Karen, of course, didn't like it. I know we said no aliens, but think about how cool it would be. I closed the argument with a, you can't put a huge golem into the planet's core if the clockwork machine is already there. She said that it's not a golem, but she stopped arguing after Hex told her it was still a bad idea. The first encounter happens. Karen is even more reckless than ever before charging at an elder dragon, claiming that she could deal with it alone. Her character's wielding a big two-handed sword, but when the dragon attacks, she simply says, "I'll summon my shield from my gem and block the attack." Obviously, this didn't fly well with any of us. Boblin once again called her out. Dude, no, you never told us you could do that, and it's not on your character sheet either. Karen, but every gem could do that. Summoning weapons is a basic gem ability. Boblin, you never mentioned it before, and how is a shield a effing weapon? Karen, it was supposed to be a surprise, and shields are weapons. At this point, I once again interrupted the argument and told her that I'll let it slide this time. But this ability takes up a spell slot, and she may not surprise us in the future, and she still has to roll a dexterity save. I honestly didn't know what other category summoning a shield and then moving it to block would be, since I only DM'd 4E before, and it was my first time DMing 5E. Not to mention, the ability was a total ass pull. She rolled a 3. Adding the modifiers, that's a 5 in total. Before the rest of the party arrived there, the Elder Dragon crippled her health really bad and was one death saving throw from dying. Nat frickin' 1. I look at Karen, but she's making this smug face as if everything was just perfectly fine. So I start describing the scene. Rose's body starts to crumble. As the light fades from the crystalline form, small shards of crystal break off. She snapped and yelled at me. No, that's not what happens. Crystal gems don't die, they just get poofed. And Rose's body is made out of light, not crystal. She only dies if her gem is cracked. At this point, I had enough of her ass pulls and said, okay. Then the last attack broke her gem. She was visibly angry, and I am 99% sure she would have jumped me if we were in the same room. She went on a huge rant about how I'm targeting her and that I don't let her play her character the way she wants it. Hex tried to calm her down, but she just kept ranting. I told her that she didn't mention these abilities in her character sheet and her character was already OP. I also told her that she constantly tried to derail the campaign and or make up lore about her character or the species as a whole that contradicts lore. I told her that the way she wanted to play the character didn't fit into the game's world. She told me how I approved of the character, to which I answered I approved what was on your character sheet, but none of this was on it. We also agreed on homebrewing rules, both of which you broke. This argument went back and forth for about 10 minutes, but then she started crying. Though even today, I feel like it was just fake crying to get to Hex. After which, Hex suggested starting another campaign every second weekend that Karen DMs, set in an alternate universe where her character can exist. We reluctantly agreed. I reconned both this session and the former one's ending so Karen's former character can live again. Needless to say, Boblin was really angry that we wasted almost 1.5 sessions, but this was still better than the alternative. The campaign was finally back on track and we thought this was all over. We were wrong. We were so wrong. But that's a story for another time. TLDR, a player kills her PC off so she could bring a new homebrew one in, which she tries to change the lore of the entire world. Also, Ass pulls random abilities. When her character dies, she goes on a big rant, after which we recon the last 1.5 sessions so her former character is alive and reluctantly agree to let her DM a campaign in an alternate universe every second week. Wow, that's just wow! Much like many stories of these types, I understand wanting to keep the peace in the group, but it gets to the point where you need to put that foot down. Karen here was definitely a problematic and selfish player that didn't care about the other players who shared that table. But I'm also going to put some of the blame here on OP as well. As I mentioned before, they should have put their foot down, especially when it came to that homebrewed Steven Universe race. The problem here wasn't even the overpowered stats, or the fact that Karen's character was an almost copy-pasted duplicate from the show. It was the fact that OP continuously allowed Karen to make up abilities that wasn't previously approved. So in that sense, of course Karen was going to do what she did, because OP has repeatedly shown that they would just let things slide. And that's how things got so bad, at least in my opinion. Oh, and FYI, I would also like to add that just because you're a fan of a franchise, it doesn't mean everyone else is. In fact, there are still people out there who haven't seen Star Wars. Just saying. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. And would you kindly follow the socials posted in the description below. As always, be good, be great, be awesome.